Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of 10 Minutes or More. I am your humble host, Trae Brooks. And with me today, I have a very special guest, the creator of Chux himself.
Right.
Introduce you.
Hi, I'm Jordan Alexandre, or Alexandre, properly I guess, the creator of Chux and many other projects, but Chux is the most prominent one, or at least the one that this is going to be posted on. I do a whole lot of other stuff. I create art. I go to college, maybe. And yeah, it's pretty right.
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest sort of, questions, I guess you could say, is I think just like, as you're someone who obviously is going to college right now.
Sure.
And then you have like your passion project, which is Chux, and I want to ask, like, what is and we kind of talked about this a little bit, but I kind of want to go maybe a bit more in depth.
Sure.
How much of a struggle is it to like sort of balance like these, your commitment to school, and also other things in your life, and this passion, like Chux, like, is something that like you very much believe in, and something that you definitely want to get up off the ground.
Yeah.
So it's like I want to know if you can like sort of speak on like, I guess, like the struggles that you've been having, as well as like any successes you want to share.
Definitely.
Just like just like, I guess, like the journey of like how you kind of, where you're trying to get this off the ground.
Yeah. So that encompasses a lot, but I'll say that the successes that I've had, at least to start off with, is the people that I've met and encountered. Not a physical thing, but like an event that we did. It was called Jank Tank, which you were at. I think that was a fantastic success because it showed just how much people are receptive to what we're doing, and just how much people would show up. Like, we were expecting, maybe, if people don't know what Jank Tank is, it's essentially like a concert that we threw at our local senior center, and it showed just how much we actually, as a production company, could do, and it proved to me that we actually do have some work, or some worth. Because right now, we do have people like Trae, and we do have people like Joe, and we do have people like, Sarah, but the main two people who really started this was myself and my friend Ben, who came into the picture, and he really lit a fire into my ass. Chuck initially started as just like a t-shirt company, where I was a graphic designer in school, and I just had some cool ideas for t-shirts, and I just wanted to get them printed, so I asked for a screen printing press for Christmas. And I just, started printing some stuff, and I just kind of grew from there. It started in my basement, and now Ben has his own place in West Hartford, and everything that has to do with production of at least t-shirts and everything else like that is over there. And then this is more of like the studio space where artists come, or at least that's what the plan is. And to kind of answer your other question of like the balance, I find it very hard because I have a job. I have another job, a real job, if you want to call it that. And it's definitely taken second fiddle, or it's definitely taken second place to this entire feat, because I'm so passionate. Oh, she wants you to pet her. Here. It's definitely taken second fiddle to everything else. Like, there have been days when I just haven't showed up because I've been just like so enthralled with editing a video, or like I didn't show up on Friday because I wanted to complete this space, and I really don't think that's a good idea. Like, ask my girlfriend, she'd be like, Jordan, you have to show up to work or else you're gonna get fired.
Yeah.
And the excuse that I use is I have a second job, but I think it's actually true more than a lie, and it has become more true than a lie. Because I do view this as my second job. I do view this as my passion. I view this as something that will actually fund me in the future. And if I don't put in the time and effort now, it's not going to go anywhere. Yeah. And as it pertains to school, I think both of you are familiar with like my goofy Snapchat videos. Not Snapchat, but like my goofy videos that I make in the lab at like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same kind of scenario that I find with school, where it's like I'll have a 25-page paper, even like a 5-page paper assignment, and I'll wait till the 11th hour and be in the studio, you know, high off coffee and and panicking, and I'll still decide to make the goofy video and put way too much production into it than I really should compared to actually working on my assignment. And for a very long time, it's always been like this, you know. So we were having the conversation earlier where it was like, you know, actually with Joe as well, with where we were saying like, is school really worth it? Because you both graduated, and at the end of the day, it is just a piece of paper, and both of you said like, it doesn't really change anything. You know, I think it was Joe who said, over the course of summer, you know, and over the course of winter break, that's pretty much what life is like, you know, when you're not in school. And over the course of summer, even though COVID was kind of a thing, I've just been grinding with chucks and trying to get a paycheck here and there, you know, at my job. And that's pretty much it. And I'm so much more proud of constructing this space and what was my basement, but my basement is getting refinished, but constructing this space, and I can't wait to go into the basement and really see it out and see what I want to put in there, and do that. And I'm so much more proud of it than, it's hard to say, but like completing college, just like, I was talking about like a graphic design degree, and then you guys asked me, or Joe or whoever asked me, was like, what are you gonna do with it? Like, you're not gonna even be a graphic designer. Or I kind of said like, I'm not even gonna go into a graphic design firm. I know I wouldn't last there like that long, and you know, so what's the point of pursuing it? So it's a very hard battle that I have to fight, because,
and a lot of people too.
I'm sure
in your position as well.
I'm sure.
Position.
Yeah. Because
actually, or not to cut you off.
No, please.
I was gonna say like, it kind of reminds me of like, I remember I had a professor before I transferred to a 4-year. I was doing like the 2-year thing. And, like I had like a professor say that kind of stuck with me, where it was like, really all a degree tells a company or wherever you apply to is that you're easily teachable.
Really?
Like you can't. Yeah, it's like a very interesting take, where it's just like, because that's really what it says, is that even if like on paper it's like you're not qualified for the job, it's like if you have the capacity to learn and you have the patience for it and you have the drive, like that kind of shows in both like your whatever degree you get, or whatever thing you get in school, plus like any work related to that. So like I thought it was an interesting take, and it made sense to me, and in an interesting way it kind of like took the stress off of like, because I think when we go to college, it's like there's like, that's like the end game, just like graduation, like getting this piece of paper that says I have a degree in this field. And I think that puts too much pressure on students. I think it does. It does too much, because like it drove us crazy. Like, if we're gonna be real, it's like it's kind of. I feel like that shouldn't. I mean, you should strive for like graduating and getting a degree if that's what you want, mind you, if that's something that you truly aspire to. But I think just knowing that a degree, while I wouldn't go off the fence and say that it's worthless or like it doesn't matter, or not necessarily, I would look at it as like another tool in your arsenal of like sort of jobs or professions you want to get into. So I think it was an interesting way of like looking at it, and I think it kind of helped me a lot. And I feel like if more institutions were more transparent about that in certain fields, mind you, it's like, I don't know what it's like in nursing school or like any other like law or whatever, where it's like you need it. Yeah, you need to. Where it's like versus like, like what we're doing like in the arts, it's like
it's a little bit different.
It's very different. I feel like there's like 1,000,001 ways to kind of approach this, and it's like not. I don't think there's a right or a wrong way, and I think there's plenty of artists that have kind of done 1,000,001 things, and they seemingly are able to find success. I feel like the same could be with us in our generation too. Our generation of artists,
I completely agree. And you are right, where it's like it's a thing to fall back on, because let's say I find like a really dope graphic design firm that's like really open, and they're like, you can not necessarily saying you can come in whenever you want and you get paid this exorbitant amount of money, but something that's really nice, something that's really out of the blue that I never expected, nothing traditional. and it works with my schedule and everything like that, I'm sure a degree will just be like the icing on the cake. Just
Sure,
like,
yeah.
that will be the thing that will put my foot in the door.
Yeah.
And it is a tool. And I was talking with you guys about it, where it was like, it's not necessarily just because it's a money thing, or it's not necessarily because it's whatever, but it's more of a pride thing, you know? And there's something to be said about having too much pride in something, because it could be very destructive. But, you know, my parents want me to get it, and I want to make them proud. And at a certain point in time, I want to get it, and it's not I'm not trying to bash people. Like, I have a very good friend, Kevin, who you're trying to square up with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pull up.
Uh-huh.
But, September 12th, Jang Tang. Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't go to college, and he's like one of the most fantastic artists I've ever seen. He's
Sure.
fucking killing the game.
Yeah.
Like,
he even goes so far as to, like, you know, do work in other people's murals. You
I know.
I'm not salty about it.
I'm not salty about it, no.
But still, pull up. But yeah.
Exactly. You know, homie graduated high school, got the degree, and then that was it. You know, he doesn't feel the need to go to college. He actually got into UHart, but it's just too fucking expensive.
Right. Yeah. And that's a very real reality for a lot of people. Where it's just like, it's just too expensive.
Exactly.
Yeah. And like, I don't knock people at all for like not going to college and like, you know, just doing their own thing. I think we should stop kind of. I mean, it doesn't help that like, you know, so many people kind of beat into like our heads that like you need to go to college. You don't need to.
No,
it should always be something that like you want to do and like you want to accomplish. Like, I know plenty of friends that like just have a high school diploma and they're doing just fine.
Yeah,
doing just fine. It's like they're just, and they're happy too. So it's just like I'm not, you know, it's just whatever serves you. I think is what's most important.
Word. Like I think, and I was gonna say this, and it's hard to say because like on my resume, I don't want to have just like high school diploma on it. Like I would like to have college, like a Bachelor of Arts.
Sure, yeah.
In college, like that's just something that I would like to have.
Yeah.
You know, just
it's an accomplishment.
Exactly.
And it's a testament to like your hard work. Yeah.
Exactly. I did.
That's valid.
Yeah. No, I totally think so. And even if it takes me till I'm like 26 or 27, like. Is it really, because I've been struggling with this, like, is it really that bad if I take off this semester and potentially next semester just to kind of not wait out Corona, but like really wait into the art school? It won't be as it was, but at least it's a little bit better than it is right now.
Yeah.
You know, and I could focus on, even though I wouldn't have the structure, I will at least have the structure of work, and I will at least have this to still do, you know? So I hope like we can throw giant tanks and shit like that. And I could have more time to plan and won't have to, because I don't do good with stress. You know, I'm the type of dude where it's like if there's too many projects or there's too much shit going on. That's why like Joe said, like what is it? Delegate, don't. Yeah.
Do what you do best.
Yeah.
Delegate the rest.
There you go. I'm really good at big picture. You know, this is where I want us to go, or at least the general direction of where I want it to go. You know. And everything else will fall into place is my mindset, but that's not necessarily a realistic mindset. Yeah, so having a person, instead of me doing everything, having a person like you who's like is apparently as in it's very like visible, like is much more comfortable and calm interviewing people, compared to me where I'm constantly thinking of like what's the next question, what's the next idea. You're like, I can see it, you're just like I'm listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then a person like Joe who's very much better at illustration and art in general than myself, or at least in some facets. And building a team of people, assembling, like we were talking about in the Man-Child support that we shot an hour ago, assembling the Avengers that can save the goddamn world.
Yeah. Stomp out Thanos.
Who
is Kevin? Pull up.
It would be hilarious if someone photoshopped.
Oh my god, that would be.
As
I want someone to make that actually as like promo.
Chief, I could potentially.
Because the gauntlet, I'm just like.
That is something that I might actually put energy into. Just it wouldn't even be that hard. I'm like, Kevin, just give me a picture of your face.
Or you just pull off his Instagram.
Yeah, I can just pull it off his goddamn.
Yeah, his Instagram, which is at New Age Hood Rats, by the way.
At New Age Hood Rats. He's a fantastic artist.
Yeah, he's a great artist
and a really good guy.
Even though we're gonna square up as like I still respect you as an artist. So
yes.
There's your plug.
Exactly.
But
yeah, dude, fucking, it's a tough decision that I'm gonna have to make, and I really want to decide sooner rather than later. But I definitely do see a really bright future for Chucks, and I have to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
And I think you also asked a question that I didn't answer, which was oh god, I just forgot. But the basis of it was things that I struggle with when it comes to it.
Mm-hmm.
And a big struggle is reaching out, you know, because
Yeah.
I don't want to, I was talking with Sarah about this, like, I don't want to impose, I know you're busy, I know he's busy, well, less than you, but, you know, I would rather do it all myself, but I realize that I don't have I don't have enough hands, legs, feet, arm, and brain for that.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, like, I totally get that, where it's just, like, even, like, earlier today when I was, like, asking, like just people, like, hey, can you help me out with this thing? Like, it felt like I was imposed. Like, when I was asking you to, like, hey, can you, like, take reference photos? Like, I felt bad just because I was just like, oh, I don't want to
impose.
Yeah, I don't want to pose, maybe you're busy.
Maybe he's doing something.
Yeah, doing something more important than my dumb shit. So it's just like.
No, but at the end of the day, I was like, fuck yeah, let's fucking do it. I just set up this space and we figured it out. It was amazing. Yeah,
it was cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
and I appreciate it, but
of course.
Yeah, but like that's kind of like like I think that's a tough roadblock where it's just like reaching out and then like. You know, either having people like don't respond or like they just like
worst thing they can do, man,
or they have to say no, which I feel like the not responding is worse.
Oh, totally.
Just because like
I know it's
constantly left in the air.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's like when you apply to a job and it's just like you sent them like that application or email, it's like they never get back to you.
You know how nice it would be for the job to actually send back, no, sorry, you did not.
Yeah, like I'd rather have like an actual confirmation of yes or no.
Yeah.
Versus just like, you know, kind of cock teasing me a little bit with just the hope that maybe they'll reach back to me. Mm-hmm. And it's like it's been 6 months later. Yeah. And you know I'm just kind of sitting. It's like that meme. Of like whatever, like Twilight, where it's like the girl's like chilling and it's like, and like the title card is just like, whatever, like July, and then it like the camera. Pans.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like
fading.
The change in the season. It's like November. It's like that's what it feels like sometimes.
Oh my god, dude. that's what it felt like for me in fucking rehab, whereas I was waiting out the days, chief, waiting out the days. Mm. Yeah, and Corona too, to an extent.
For sure.
Not landlocked, but house locked for a very long time. People were scared.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Can you speak on because you mentioned rehab? Yeah, obviously, totally. I don't want to prod too much.
No, whatever.
Yeah, just like I was just wondering if you can kind of speak on that, like sort of like what was that like?
So rehab was definitely an experience. I think that rehab has a very negative connotation. Where it's like, oh, dude, Jordan went to rehab. It's like, is he okay?
Yeah, like, it's kind of viewed as like the like rock bottom almost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you can only build up from there. And basically, the whole story behind it was I suffer from bipolar disorder and kind of schizoaffective disorder, but that's not necessarily like in stone. I definitely have bipolar disorder, and if you don't know what it is, just do a quick Google search. It's manic and depressive. And I had a manic state. I had a manic episode, which some people are familiar with. Not a whole lot of people necessarily have seen it, at least me firsthand, but I go fucking nuts. Mm. So, and partially it was because I was smoking a whole lot of weed and CBD at the time, which I can't do anymore.
Does that like trigger it?
It triggers it, yeah. It's a big trigger. No sleep, no medication, and weed is the big three for how to get me right back into a manic episode. So it was sometime in January, a whole lot of horrible shit. Like this was probably the worst one. Went down, and it got a little bit more public than they usually do.
Sure.
Yeah. And so basically, I got hospitalized. I went to not the local, but it's the Institute of Living in Hartford, in the south end of Hartford. Spent I think a little under 3 weeks there, and that's basically a place where you just kind of get your mind right, you're medicated, you're safe, you know, they're trying to get you back from the moon back down to Earth. Yeah. And then after that, I've been hospitalized, I think, what's up? You just want to be picked. I've been hospitalized for the same reason, for manic episodes, I believe 8 times that time. Mm-hmm. I've been hospitalized a total of 9 times. So did that, and then my parents, and myself to an extent, and the people in the hospital and the people who run the hospital, alright, I'll keep hitting you. And the people who run the groups outside of the hospital were like, all right, Jordan, you've been in the same place 8 times. It's about time to make a change. I think we're going to try rehab. And I was like, sure, it's fine. So I ended up going to a place called Luna's Path, and that was basically like, basically like a halfway house where there's like you and I think like around 5 other people who are going through the same kind of stuff. And it's 24-hour staff. And that was my first experience with rehab, and it was during Corona as well, so we couldn't go out as normally as we could, but It was in New Haven actually, and it wasn't too bad. You know, you had to pay for your own food, but they cooked you dinner. And it was definitely a different experience, but it did get me off weed, and I got to meet some pretty cool people. But during that time, I had another manic episode, and we don't know why. I think it was because my medication was a little bit
Just
too
so
low.
you know your battery's flashing red.
Oh, it is? Okay, so if that cuts out... Actually, do you mind taking a break and we swap the battery?
Yeah, sure. Let's take a break.
All right. 1 second.
We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. All right.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Sorry about that. Just like had a little technical difficulty, but going back to what you were saying earlier. So you mentioned how you were in rehab and you were kind of talking about that. So yeah. So like I was also curious to know like well, first of all, I'm glad you're doing better.
Always, man.
Yeah, so it's good. It's good to hear. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
good.
trying to.
But I just want to know. I just wanted you to kind of continue like talking about that and how. I also want to know like how did rehab sort of change your perspective, if at all, on like sort of mental illness or like how you sort of deal with your mental anxieties and things of that nature.
That's a very good question. Because normally, I'll tell you what they normally do. Normally, you would get out of the hospital, you would get out of IOL, and then they would just kind of send you to like just groups. So you would go to like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and that would be existence for you. There's actually a little thing. Sorry to like kind of break the fourth wall. But yep, exactly.
There you go.
Perfect. Yeah. Normally I'm behind the camera. Yeah. There's groups, let's just say like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and you would drive to the place and you would sit and talk, and I never really bought into it.
Yeah.
You know, they were talking about shit that I felt like was made in like the 60s, and I felt like it was never, like, you learned about certain things, but I never really got it. And it wasn't until I started talking with some of the people at the rehab that I went to after that rehab. So I went to two actually. I went to a place called Luna's Path and I went to a place called Blue Sky. Blue Sky actually lived on my own for a very long time, for like a few months. Actually about like a month. And it wasn't until we started doing Zoom calls and they were longer talks and they were every single day, and it wasn't necessarily focused on like cookie cutter, all right, we're just kind of doing this for insurance and it's just, we just got to kind of shell, and I'm not saying they do this, but we just kind of got to shell these kids out of here, you know, we got to kind of clear the cycle because we got more in the back. I felt like these people actually really did care.
Yeah.
They really did care, and they really had some solid advice about like what I could do and what I've been through. And I've met a whole lot of people who are in very much darker places than me. So it brought even more perspective, you know, into that.
Yeah, it's definitely true. Cause like, even like to this day, there's still stigma about like rehab, and also I think just mental illness still, and like
dude,
seeking help.
It's huge.
Cause like I was very much a part of that camp until like I went to go get therapy myself, and I'm entirely grateful for that. Just cause like it kind of opened my eyes.
Therapy's a godsend, man.
Yeah, it opened my eyes to like, oh yeah, like there's a lot of these things that haven't addressed till now, and it's like I can't keep going down like this path, kind of not acknowledging it and kind of just like letting things get worse. But yeah, but yeah, like that's definitely, I think it's definitely good to like speak on that, or like like talk about it, just because like I think it's important to kind of let people know that like it shouldn't necessarily be viewed as a negative thing, but just like as another sort of something that's like meant to help you.
Exactly.
Yeah, because like
at the end of the day, it's meant to help you.
Yeah, because like I think someone put into perspective for me when I was sort of questioning therapy, and they were, because like my whole excuse was like, oh, why would I pay money to like
a person
or to like talk to a person about like what I'm going through. And then somebody was just like, well, you pay money to a doctor to have them examine your body, so how's that any different from having someone examine your mental? So I'm just like, and then that kind of like put like the brakes on it, where I was just like, it really made me stop and think, be like, you know, it's actually pretty valid. Like I didn't really consider it like that, because you know it's very, because like your mental is very much like the physical in a sense, where it's like you gotta, you know, like you get sick the same way how your physical body gets sick, and then you just gotta take medicine. You gotta treat it, you know.
True.
You know, whatever medicine that comes in, whether it's like actual medication to kind of help balance you out a bit, or if it's just simply seeking a professional and just like sort of helping you guide through this whatever dark time you're going through. It's like it's medicine. It's like it's not. It may not be taste good or like it may be kind of bitter, but like it's what you need.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Like there are so many people who are against therapy and against rehab because exactly what you said. They feel like, it makes them feel weaker or makes them feel vulnerable. Where
29 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever you feel like, anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes them feel weaker or vulnerable, or it makes them feel less than, or like they're not normal. And I haven't been normal for a very long time. Like,
what is normal?
Oh, literally.
Just like,
that's been the
honestly,
greatest. That's been the greatest enlightening moment of my entire existence with bipolar disorder and mental illness and all the shit that I go through. Where it's like, there's no such thing as normal.
Yeah.
Life is just a cosmic swirl, and you can't predict the next minute. Like a meteor could just go fucking across the sky. And it was the most beautiful thing in the world.
Yeah.
And I
Speaking of meteors, apparently, did you hear the news where it's like apparently like an asteroid is supposed to like fly by the Earth? I think the day before election.
Really?
Apparently.
That's fucking
like I just read that in the news the other day. It was like, oh, meteors meant to fly by the Earth on a day before the November election. Insert Republican joke here. But but it's like I totally I get that. Where it's just like what is normal,
Yeah.
And also like why does it matter? It's like who cares? Yeah.
It's your life. It's your existence, man.
Yeah.
And I personally believe. Yeah, Puppy wants to go inside, but I'll let her in a second.
Yeah.
Okay. 1 second. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'll let Puppy.
One second.
Yeah.
Quick intermission.
Come on, Puppy. Oh.
How you feeling, Trae?
I'm doing alright. It's very. I like this instrumental. It's very laid back.
I feel like it's very you.
Yeah, it's just like I kind of just vibing. I like
Trae
it.
flavored.
Yeah, it's like it's the kind of thing I like.
Electrolytes.
Yeah,
All right. Sorry about that.
yeah. It's like Gatorade.
Mhm.
It's like it feels you after like a really intense workout.
Yeah.
But
It's definitely the cool down.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I forget what I was saying. I think it was something about not being normal, and
Yeah.
we talked about a meteorite coming,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool, and but not being normal. Let's just go back to that. Yeah. So I developed bipolar disorder. Ooh, of course. I want to go inside. She can hang out for there. She can be inside.
Okay.
But, developed. Sorry.
Sorry, everyone.
She's pissed.
Oh my gosh, he was clawing at that door.
No. What do you want? Inside, outside. Very unprofessional, Jay. Very unprofessional.
Hi, baby, sweet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like me. It's like I don't know what I want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Am I going inside?
Especially at this hour. Yeah.
Yeah. No, seriously, dude.
Yeah.
Thanks for saying so late. I appreciate it.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like it. It's a vibe.
Yeah. Developed bipolar disorder, 2015.
Hmm.
Actually, I had my first manic episode it started January 1st, 2016.
Yeah.
So as I woke up into the new year, that's when it started. So it's been it's going to be 5 years that I've been like this.
Yeah. Were you officially diagnosed, or were you just more?
Yeah, in the hospital. I was officially diagnosed.
Okay, yeah.
With bipolar, and then during my 8th visit, they thought it was schizoaffective,
Hmm.
and I can kind of buy it. Schizoaffective, for those of you who don't know, is kind of like if bipolar, your mood can stabilize with the use of medication. So instead of having manic highs and depressive lows, and this is at least how I understand it, you can stabilize with medication. Even if you're on medication with schizoaffective, you can still have the manic highs and the depressive lows. But the whole point is like with the medication, they're just not as intense.
Yeah.
So, I can be a little bit more manic some days, and I don't really get depressed, but I can be a little bit more depressed some days. And then there is some like schizophrenic stuff that can happen, but it's kind of rare.
Do they have to constantly like adjust medications to like kind of stabilize it a little bit
No,
more?
that's actually the really interesting part. They find something that works with you, and then you just kind of kick it until it doesn't.
Yeah,
But the hard part is finding the medication that works.
really.
Because you have to. It's like treating your body as a fucking science experiment, man. Because you could like there's the ones that like you just eat and get a fuck ton of weight. Like I was on a medication that made it like nearly impossible to keep down food. I could only have like 3 bites of anything, and then everything else I would just like start to throw up.
Yeah.
And it was tough, and I just kind of, even though I was off it for like months, I just started being able to put down food more. So you have to be careful with what you have and do your fucking research. Like a doctor or your psychiatrist will just start handing you pills, and you have to do your research on them. Be like, well, maybe I don't want this, and don't be afraid to speak up just because you see them as the authority or it's better for you. You know, it's your body at the end of the day, your mental state. You have to make sure that you're okay with what's going in it. You know.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. Just because, like, like of course, like a doctor or someone, a pharmacist or whatever. It's like, I'm sure they, of course, like they know what's best, but at the same time, it's like only you really know what's best with your body.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of get like a bit antsy when it comes to like medication because like I don't know. It's just like I mean, generally, I just don't like the idea of taking a lot of medication to begin with anyway.
Yeah.
Just because like I don't like the idea of just like having these things kind of throw off my natural chemistry.
Yeah.
So it's like I can't imagine like if you're somebody who has to take it just in order to kind of level out a little bit.
Just to say like, well, whatever.
That to me is like, and shout out to the people that are that are going through it. It's like, shout out to y'all. It's like I can't imagine having to go through that.
Yeah.
So.
No, seriously, dude. I mean, and it is kind of like it just habitually just get used to it every night. Take it.
Sure,
There's people who have to take a whole lot more. There's people who have to take a whole lot less.
Yeah.
You just got to keep it in your system.
Yeah.
And there's a stigma where it's like, if I take certain medication, it's gonna make me a zombie, and that's true for some. But if at the end of the day it's making you better, then it's worth it.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to change medications. Don't be afraid to change medications and try new things. As tough as the process of transitioning medications would be, don't be afraid to actually go for it because you never know what's immediately going to click.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do find it hilarious how like the majority of TV is fucking medication commercials. Actually, you would know about this shit. The majority of TV is like fucking medication commercials, and like everybody's happy and smiling, and meanwhile they're saying may cause suicidal thoughts and diarrhea.
Right. It's like it's always like that kind of final blurb where it's just like they kind of read through all that, that adverse side effects, and it's just like it's kind of it's really distressing when you think about it, where it's just like it could cause all these horrible things, but it could also kind of just make you feel good.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's just like
who knows? It's a toss.
Who knows? Like yes, we'll find out. But like it's just like it's strange.
That's something Europeans noticed right away about America.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Yeah. We're all kind of drugged up.
Seriously. Well, I do think it's a good thing, and it's helped me immensely.
Sure. Yeah. It's like as long as it helps. Like I don't see no issue with it.
Exactly. But to each their own.
Right.
To each their own.
Of course.
Do you have any other questions?
I think I just have one final question.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of circling back to Chuck's.
Yeah, what you got, Chief?
Where it's just, I just want to know, like, how do you foresee, going into the future with like all this, of course, with all this uncertainty with like 2020, all the crazy shit that's been going on, and I find it like very admirable that it's just like you're just like, you know what, we're gonna keep going with Chuck's, like we're gonna try to get this off the ground. So I was just curious, like, what's the foreseeable future with Chuck's? Do you think?
That's a very good question. I think it has to stick to its basic morals, which is it's a production company to help artists. We are. It's for creators. I think the quote I said was, "It's for creators by creators who just want to fucking create." At the end of the day, and that is basically the mission statement in basically a sentence. It's for the people who want to do it. It's not necessarily for the people who just want to make a quick buck. And that's kind of what I was trying to talk to you about on Manchild, which was, it's, how are we going to kind of, in the future, if it does become big, but I have to say when it does become big, You know, how are we gonna kind of vet the people who see us as, you know, an
Just a
opportunity?
Yeah, or like,
kinda
or even just like or just a bunch of kind of 20-year-old kind of post-college graduate kids kind of just like kicking it in a garage.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the start of like every kind of
Every
basically
Apple,
every
fucking
American,
Microsoft.
yeah, every American sort of
Yeah.
big name corporation. It's
Uh-huh.
like the humble
Yeah.
beginnings.
The
Yeah.
irony is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, so it's like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, but yeah, it's just like kind of that sort of, I guess like not stigma, but just like
The meme of it all.
I guess, yeah, it's a way to look at it, yeah.
Yeah, I see. I love Chucks very dearly, and I do see it becoming something huge and big. And I'm happy that we can still throw jank tanks and still find opportunities. And I do believe that there's a higher force that's looking over all of us and me and all this shit and guiding me through the entire sea and valley and path that is fucking life. But I think where Chuck shines is in its simplicity, and owning that simplicity. Like, I think the tagline that I just made for Chuck's is a cult that is based on duct tape, and yeah, it should be duct tape and 2x4s, because I'm more proud of this kind of janky setup and how it works, and having the most expensive thing probably in this entire thing, barring my laptop, be that camera. But you know, things like my speaker system, which I got for I think less than $20 at a Goodwill, and these two fucking racks here that I took from Tivana after they closed, and you know, this thing that I made that still fucking holds up somehow. You know, everything that's in this room accentuates what really Chuck's is at the end of the day, and what I hope it holds on to. Where and it's a personal moral of mine where it's like, don't take it too seriously, man.
Yeah.
Like, this could be like a studio and there's perfect lighting and it's perfectly white, and it's like, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like Rick Rubin interviews Pharrell, and
Yeah.
it's like beautifully shot, and there's like two cameras and it's very dynamic and the lighting's perfect. I'm like, dude, that would take too long and I don't even feel like editing that shit. You know
Yeah.
what I want? I want one camera, and maybe eventually we got two cameras here where it's one on you and one on me,
Sure, yeah.
and you know,
Okay,
a
just jump up.
third camera, I guess, for this shit, and maybe a little bit better lighting, and I would like potentially a backdrop of some kind, but I'm completely fine with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, keeping it, it's a KISS rule. Keep it simple, stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like our, what is it? The place that we shine is the place where people would not want to show. The place where others would not want to show.
Yeah.
Like I'm in love with this place, and I created it in less than 3 hours, and it's probably going to end up staying this way with a few bips and bops here and there for a very long time, and that's all we need. And to kind of end on it, like we were talking about, like, just stay local. Like, you don't have to move to New York City to be a fantastic artist.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, keep it.
Yeah, it's definitely, and it's also definitely not, I wouldn't say a guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if anything, it's way more of a risk now than it was like 20 years ago, 10 years ago. Yeah, so, yeah, thank you. Here's to
course.
Jank Tank evolving.
Chucks and all
Yeah,
that shit.
Chucks,
Mm-hmm.
everything. Yep.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for your time.
Of course, G.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah, so we're going to end it off right there. Thank you for joining us. This has been 10 minutes or more. Definitely been more.
Yeah.
More, but not less.
Exactly. More
So,
but not less.
Yeah, there you go.
Uh-huh.
I've been your host, Trae Brooks. This has been,
Jordan, Alexander, or Alexandre.
and we'll see you at the next one.
All right.
Have a good night.